Hi folks, my name's Ashley, I'm one of the founders of Skira, and I'm here today to show you a great new feature we've added in today's release. It's a new system action called Wait for Previous Actions to Complete, and it's really useful when using what we call asynchronous actions. Just before I get into that, I want to show you one quick minor new thing we've added, which is very handy. You can now add actions in between, you can add comments in between actions. So you can see if you have a long list of actions, you can now put comments in between, which is pretty handy. I'll show you another example of that later on. The main thing I want to talk about in this video though is how asynchronous actions work and what we've done to make them easier to use. So a good example of this is the Ajax plugin. This can request files from the internet or from your project and load them and let your events use the data which is loaded. As you know, the internet can be a bit slow sometimes. It could take a couple of seconds for that to complete, and it wouldn't be very useful if your game froze up completely and stopped running until the request completed. So what happens is you use the request action. The request will carry on in the background whilst the game continues to run, and then when it's ready it will fire the onCompleted trigger, where you can then make use of the data that was loaded. In this case, it's not important what I'm loading. The point is just to show how asynchronous actions work. So I'm just loading a text file here into a text object, and now you can see it working. So these are called asynchronous actions because they carry on running in the background in parallel. And you can see Construct now marks asynchronous actions with this special icon, which is a bit like a clock to kind of show that it's happening, the timing is different to normal actions. Let me show you how you can now do this as of the latest release. So the new feature is this new system action, wait for previous actions to complete. There are other wait actions which you might have used before, for example wait 1 second. This is very similar to that, except it's going to wait for all the actions which appear above it to complete before it continues. So in this case it helps simplify the event because on start of layout it will make the request. It will then wait until that request completes, and then you can use the data right after that without having to use an onCompleted trigger. And this is particularly useful with that you don't need to worry about tags, you don't need to worry about other triggers in your project firing. So if you have a lot of events, this is a useful way to help organize things. And if there are multiple actions above it with this icon here, they will all continue in parallel, and this will wait for all, this is why it says previous actions. It could say wait for all previous actions to complete. And you can also put this action in between every other asynchronous action to force them to happen one after the other. The important thing to focus on here are the icons are a good quick way of seeing how this will run. This icon here shows it's an asynchronous action, and then this icon here will show that it's going to wait for all those actions before it to complete. So then you can easily see that this action will run once everything before it has completed. And if we run that, you can see it works the same. So this is a really nice way to simplify your events. And just to show you a slightly more advanced example of that, a common request is people want to know how to share screenshots of their game, and you can do this by taking a canvas snapshot with the system object. Then you use the Ajax plugin to load that into a binary data object, and then you can share using the binary data as an image file attachment to the share. So you can see that here as it takes a snapshot. When that's complete, it will then load it into the binary data object, and once that's done it will then share the image. By the way, this only currently works on Android, so if you test it, that's the sharing files feature is only currently available on Android. But that's not important here. All I'm doing is showing you how asynchronous actions work. And you can see there's 3 events needed to do this, and if you have these events all over your project, it can be quite difficult to keep track of. Now if I show you with the new feature, you can see I'm using some action comments here again. So now when the user clicks the share button, it will take a canvas snapshot using the system object, and it will wait for that snapshot to complete because that happens asynchronously. Then it will use the Ajax object to load the snapshot into the binary data object and wait for that to complete, and then you can go right ahead and share the screenshot. And if you look at these icons on the right here, you can see the points at which it waits. This hopefully will be really useful. It's a very good way of actually organising asynchronous events in your project, because now it's much more obvious how this works and everything's kept in one place, and you don't have to worry about things like tags and whether other actions elsewhere in a project will trigger those events as well. So we hope you find that useful, as well as the new action comments. Stay tuned for more updates. Enjoy!